reality is, as we age, the need for financial protection and secured investments doesn't vanish. Whole life insurance can offer stability and growth for your assets in retirement. It protects you and your plans to make sure that what you want to happen will happen when you want it to happen, whether you're here to see it or not. Money can go up and down, but when you invest in cash flow producing assets, even when the economy goes down, typically that cash flow, if you do it the right way, can remain relatively consistent. We need to stop focusing on rate of return. It's all about creating the life that we want to live and being intentional about these results. When you do this, I promise you, your path to financial freedom is not going to be 40 or 45 years. It's going to be 10 to 15 years. Welcome to this transformative video where we dive into how whole life insurance can be the game changer that you need for your financial future. I know that sounds like a lot, but imagine unlocking a world where your investments not only are secure, but also strategically positioned to fuel your dreams. Now I'm about to unveil the unconventional yet powerful link between whole life insurance, real estate, banking, and business, showing you a path to financial freedom that defies what normal people do. So if you're ready to shift your perspective on wealth building and explore new avenues for financial growth, make sure you stay tuned because it's exactly what I'm going to talk about today. Hey, what's going on, Cashflow hackers? This is Chris with Life 180, and today we are talking about unleashing the power of whole life insurance so you can live your dreams and reach financial freedom a lot faster. Now, that said, before I get into all the details and the nuances, I think it's important to start off by breaking down the basics of whole life insurance, what it is, comparison to term insurance, so on and so forth. Now, unlike term insurance, which you only have for a certain period of time, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, maybe 30 years, something of that nature, whole life insurance has guaranteed insurance for life. In fact, when we talk about the benefits of whole life insurance, a guaranteed death benefit, regardless of how long you live, ensures that your beneficiaries are going to have a guaranteed payout. Now, I would say on top of the death benefit, one of the great benefits of whole life insurance is that it gives you cash value accumulation. And over time, your policy builds more and more cash value that grows on a tax-deferred basis that you can access through the next benefit, which is policy loans. One of the greatest codes in the tax code is the fact that you can access the cash value in your policy through guaranteed policy loans from the insurance company while maintaining your death benefit. Now, the cool part about whole life insurance is that when you are with a participating mutually held whole life insurance company, which is the only way I would go, you get paid dividends. Now, when you get paid these dividends, you're basically paid these dividends because you are the equivalent of a shareholder with a publicly traded company. As a policyholder with a participating mutual company, you get paid those dividends the same way that a stockholder would be paid dividends with that publicly traded company. But here's the problem. Despite these benefits, whole life insurance often is wildly misunderstood. So before getting into all the other benefits and details, I want to debunk some of the common myths that people have around what whole life insurance is. Myth number one, I think, is that whole life insurance is just too expensive. And I understand why they say that, because while premiums are actually higher than term insurance, which they are, you're not just paying for the death benefit, you're investing in a financial vehicle that grows in value over time. Whereas term insurance is simply insurance and protection, whole life insurance provides the insurance and protection and provides you an asset that's going to grow with you over time. Myth number two is that whole life insurance is only for the wealthy. The reality is whole life insurance can be tailored to fit a lot of financial situations. It's more about strategic planning, not just your income level. The principles of financial success don't change no matter what level you're at. And finally, probably the third most common myth that I hear is that you don't need life insurance after you retire. The reality is, as we age, the need for financial protection and secured investments doesn't vanish, right? The idea of volatility risk and sequence of return risk and longevity risk and all these things play into retirement, and whole life insurance can offer stability and growth for your assets in retirement, actually allowing your other investments, when you utilize whole life insurance as part of a bigger financial strategy, to help those other investments perform better. Now, what I love, now that we've covered those myths, my favorite way to use whole life insurance is to use it as an emergency fund, build that up, turn it into an opportunity fund, and utilize the opportunity fund and combine whole life insurance with real estate investing. So what I want to do now is I want to explore how whole life insurance can supercharge your real estate investments. Imagine using the policy cash value in your whole life insurance policy for collateralization and real estate purchases. When you utilize this strategy, what it does is the cash value in your policy provides liquidity. That liquidity you can utilize for down payments on a property, when you want to buy a new cash flowing property, or maybe you buy a fix and flip and you need to utilize that liquidity for renovations. And by having that liquidity for those things, what it does is it provides what I would call safe leverage, because most of the time when we talk about leveraging, you're talking about leverage that will create risk and increase chances of default in terms of like when the economy goes through a down cycle, it puts you at risk. But when you utilize borrowing against your policy at favorable interest rates that are a little bit more level, that are lower than market environment norms, right now they're 5.5% compared to 7.5% or 8% for an investment property loan, right? So it makes the cash flow a lot better for you. What this does is it puts you in a position of power. So it creates a cycle of investment and growth, and you have a set of rules that go in place for yourself that you follow and you execute on. When you do this, what happens is it creates more security. By utilizing the whole life insurance policy as a foundational asset, as that place where you're tapping into the cash value, the death benefit that you have on the back end of it is a safety net for everything that you want to do. I'm a big believer that we're not just building our businesses and investing in real estate and trying to create all this cash flow for ourselves. We're doing it because we want to create a better life for the people that we love and the next generation to come. By having that safety net there, by having that death benefit there, it protects you. It protects you and your plans to make sure that what you want to happen will happen when you want it to happen, whether you're here to see it or not, even against those unforeseen circumstances that unfortunately happen to some people. But maybe real estate just isn't your thing and you're more of an entrepreneur and you want to launch other businesses. Well, the reality is whole life insurance isn't just a tool for real estate investors. It is an amazing tool and a powerful asset for entrepreneurs as well. And here's how. For business funding, let's face it, when we start a business, we need access to capital for business startups, for expansion, or other business needs like liquidity that we have as as we grow the business and as we look to expand. Sometimes seeking traditional lenders or getting access to capital through traditional lenders can be slow. It can be frustrating. I've talked to so many entrepreneurs that are just banging their head against the wall because they should qualify, but it's such a exposing process to go through to get that money. Risk management in our businesses, the reality is that your cash value and your life insurance policy as an entrepreneur is going to provide you with a safety net, giving you funds in case of business downturns or emergencies. It's a capital reserve account that you're going to be able to utilize for all sorts of different use cases depending on your specific business needs. When I look at this, as we go through and we take a look back in history, 2008, there's a statistic I read that over 70% of businesses that failed were actually profitable. The problem is their cash flow was all over the map and they didn't have the right reserves. So these profitable businesses over a period of time, because they didn't have the reserves, and when we had the economic downturn, they failed, they went out of business. And so people that had access to capital were able to gobble them up at pennies on the dollar. And that is the power of having these policies and these reserves in place. Imagine when a next downturn comes, you as an entrepreneur have all this access to capital and maybe your competitors in the market don't have it. And now what happens is they get into a financial rough situation, you're able to come in with access to capital and buy their business and expand your business at pennies on the dollar. Now as the economy recovers, you potentially 10x your money or even more. Now outside of real estate, outside of business, you can also utilize whole life insurance and the cash value in it for alternative investments. I know a lot of people that utilize it for cryptocurrency investing or day trading, and they use it as an operational fund for day trading. You could use it. I mean, I talk to a lot of poker players. If you follow me, I used to be a professional poker player, top 100 ranked in the world online back in 2009 through 2010. And when we look at that, it can be a good foundational savings asset for people that are doing these alternative investments. What I love and what I see a lot are people that utilize it for private money lending, people that want to do hard money lending or whatever you want to call it. Because you can borrow and access that money. It never interrupts the growth of your own money. And at the end of the day, you get to charge higher rates and create an arbitrage and a spread. And that's a powerful strategy that sets in place a set of rules that will allow you to do this without taking on a lot of risk. I know some people that have utilized the cash value in their policies for niche style investments, things like collectibles and antique cars and things of that nature. The reality is your policy can provide the capital that you need to diversify your investment portfolio with actual diversification, not this diversification in the stock market where you have target date funds and all these things that at the end of the day, the correlated movement with all these different types of investments around the world move so in alignment with each other because we have this world economy that it's sometimes really challenging to actually get diversification. Having money in your whole life insurance policy can help you do that. What's really important, no matter what you decide to invest in, is utilizing your money to save, and you utilize that money that you've saved to invest. And when you invest, you've got to focus on maximizing your cash flow, not accumulating more money. Because life is all about cash flow. Money can go up and down, but when you invest in cash flow producing assets, even when the economy goes down, typically that cash flow, if you do it the right way, can remain relatively consistent, right? So by strategically borrowing against your policy and having access to that capital and controlling the capital cost and increasing your cash flow, creating steady cash flow and allowing you to reinvest that growth, it allows this compounding effect. And that's how we compress 40 years of retirement planning into 10 to 15 years of doing this. By doing this is why I always tell people we need to stop focusing on rate of return. Because what happens is when people typically discuss investing, we often hear about people talk about, well, what rate of return are you getting, right? In fact, what I hear is one of the most common reasons that people shy away from wanting to have whole life insurance in their world is because it provides a lower rate of return than other riskier investments provide, right? It's the most common. So why would I save money in a whole life when I can get a higher rate of return somewhere else? The reality is there's the more valuable metric that we need to think about is not rate of return, but rate of result. And here's why. When we have a cash flow focus, instead of just looking at the returns and we focus on your investments and using your investments to enhance your cash flow, whole life insurance policies provide both growth and access to the cash, which is going to provide other ancillary benefits that far supersede what the rate of return is, because you can't calculate the outside benefits inside of whole life insurance and the liquidity and the control and the access to opportunity that opens up a world of opportunity that the rate of return in your traditional 401k or qualified accounts are going to be able to provide you. When we look at whole life insurance and say it's going to give you a tax-free growth of 4.5% to 5%, well, when you look at a taxable growth, which a qualified account is going to be, because when you take the money out of it, it's going to grow tax-deferred, but you're going to have to pay taxes on it, earned income taxes on it when you pull it out. You're going to need a 7 to 7.5% return just to compete with whole life there. So that's after fees. So that's first and foremost. But then when you look at the other benefits that whole life offers you, like being able to control your cost of capital, have access to money, be able to go after alternative investments and create more cash flow in a way that these other investments won't provide you, it really all just comes down to you and your skill, your abilities. The reality is access to capital, all those things have different values to different people. You know, maybe you have to grow a little bit to increase that value, but I'll really push back at you and say you are where you are because of who you are. And if you want to live a bigger life and you want faster results, you got to become more to get that, right? So my encouragement, and one of the reasons I love this, because whole life insurance, when you utilize it properly and we start thinking about rate of result, not rate of return, is that it forces you to become who you need to be to live that life that you want to live. And to me, that's a beautiful thing, because life is all about this journey. It's all about creating the life that we want to live and being intentional about these results. So, to me, rate of result is a much more empowering way to think and a much more fulfilling way to go about planning for our financial futures. So if that aligns with you, now what we have to do is we have to talk about how do you create an opportunity fund with whole life insurance. You know, I always say you got to start with the emergency fund, make sure that your emergencies, your financial foundation is set. The next step before you invest is you got to build your opportunity fund, and you save with the intention of invest. So the question is, how do you build an opportunity fund with whole life insurance? Let's go through it step by step. First thing you need to do is start by establishing a whole life insurance policy with a participating mutual company that's been around for 110 plus years and has never missed a dividend payment. And then you want to contribute regularly to the cash value. And if you have any capital to front load the policy, that's going to be kind of like adding fuel to the cash flow and cash accumulation fire in your policy. If you have any questions about this, you can always go down below, set up a clarity call with one of the coaches on my team. They're all certified to be able to help you in this process and just get clarity. I promise you, it's not a high pressure sales pitch. It really is about helping you have clarity. The second thing is you start building cash value. What's going to happen is you're going to have strategic use of this money, right? It's going to give you access to this capital for higher return investments. I'm a big believer you should invest in things that you have control of some of the results in, or at least some influence, like real estate, business, things of that nature. Invest in your unique abilities and your unique relationships. That's where the opportunities come. Most of the time, people can't take advantage because they don't have strategic access to this money. But the cool part is, unlike saving it in a savings account, when you leverage that money, you're borrowing against the policy. You're never borrowing from the policy, you're borrowing against your policy. So the money in your policy, the cash value in your policy, is going to continually grow over time. The reason I love this is because it creates financial discipline. When you utilize your policy loans strategically, it puts you in this position where you use your policy as a filter on whether you should or shouldn't make these investments or take this risk. I'm a big believer of going through a process of what's the upside to an opportunity, what's the downside, and can I live with the downside? By utilizing your whole life insurance policy and the cash value as your barometer for and that filter for that decision-making process, and make sure that you can never take a risk that's too big that you can't recover from. The other thing about financial discipline that I love, and with whole life insurance that I love, is that most people struggle in their personal finances because they just don't have a system, and they lack financial discipline because they don't measure anything. And by having your money in a whole life insurance policy and having this system and having these rules, and it sets up a path that will enable you to be financially disciplined because you actually know what you're trying to measure to accomplish a desired result, not just saving money aimlessly, hoping that it's going to be enough, because most people just don't know. When you do this, I promise you, your path to financial freedom is not going to be 40 or 45 years. It's going to be 10 to 15 years. No matter where you are right now, no matter how much money you have, no matter where you're starting, no matter what your level of intellect or technical knowledge of this stuff, you can get there. The only thing you have to do is make sure, and I don't care if you work with us or somebody else, make sure that you're working with somebody who really understands this stuff, because whole life insurance does have a bad reputation for a reason. It's misrepresented a lot of times. People are taking content from people like me, and they're selling people on whole life insurance, but they're earning a lot of commissions and they're doing all this stuff. The reality is we got to take a massive, like a 90+% commission cut to be able to design these policies in the way that we do for our clients, to be able to utilize it to solve all the different problems, to help them reach the financial goals that they're after. So make sure that you never put your money into anything you don't understand, whether you work with us or somebody else. I would say make sure that you continue the educational journey. Make sure that you are going down and educating yourself. And I'll put a playlist on the end here that continues the journey of really understanding the whole life insurance thing. But once again, if you have any questions at any point in time in your journey, at the end of every video or in the description of every video I make, there is the ability to set up a clarity call, and somebody on the team is happy to help you. In addition, I will say this: if you're interested in really diving deeper and you want to be a little bit more organized, a little bit more concise with it, just go down in the description below and make a comment that says Masterclass. And what I will do is I'll give you the contact information that you need to get free access to a masterclass. And I think it'll be absolutely a game changer for your knowledge curve when it comes to understanding whole life insurance, and on how whole life insurance can be the versatile tool that you need to achieve your financial freedom. So this is my encouragement for you at this point in time. We've explored how whole life insurance can, create financial empowerment for you. I believe it's the only financial asset in the world that will help you become who you need to be to live the life that you want to live. It's the only self-completing strategy that I know of. And I believe that we're working towards this goal, not because we're just trying to reach financial freedom for ourselves, but we're trying to create more generationally and intergenerationally. And I encourage you to think bigger, to plan bigger. Be sure to continue on this journey that you're on right now. Don't let this video be the end of it. Make sure that you continue down the path, you engage with other people, you ask questions, you think critically, you challenge the contemporary way of thinking, and you have to think outside of the herd. Don't fall into that herd mentality, because when you follow the herd, you get slaughtered. Warren Buffett always talks about, he tries to stay out of the think tank of Wall Street. He tries to stay out of that and to take advantage of the folly that Wall Street brings to the table. And I'll tell you what, if you do that and you follow these strategies and you integrate this into your financial strategy as part of a bigger plan, because once again, this isn't the end all be all. It's got to be part of a bigger plan, part of a bigger alternative strategy, right? You're not gonna, I just believe we live in the most prosperous country the world has ever seen, and 95% of the people are getting a retirement and not able to maintain their standard of living. That's a problem to me. And so those results are abysmal, and that shows me the system is set up not for you to succeed, but for you to remain kind of a battery in the matrix and keeping it all going. So I really encourage people to break out of this, think independently, go against the herd mentality, and take control of your own financial future. And to me, this is the best way to do so. So hopefully that adds value. If you have any questions, comment in the comment section below. I'll do my best to engage with every single one. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell. That way you're notified every time I launch a new video. Until next time, have a blessed, inspirational day. We'll talk soon. See ya.